Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Neil Diamond, the soulful storyteller behind America's favorite songs. Few artists have woven themselves into the emotional fabric of multiple generations quite like Neil Diamond. With his unmistakable baritone voice, heartfelt lyrics, and charismatic stage presence, Diamond has spent more than 5 decades creating songs that feel both deeply personal and universally timeless. From stadium anthems to tender ballads, he remains one of the most beloved singer-songwriters in modern music history. A Brooklyn beginning-born Neil Leslie Diamond on January 24, 1941, in Brooklyn, New York, he discovered his love for music early, writing poetry and teaching himself guitar as a teenager. His early years were shaped by the vibrant musical landscape of New York City, where doo-wop, folk, and early rock and roll flowed through the airwaves. Diamond's big break began not as a performer, but as a songwriter for the legendary Brill Building, home to many of America's greatest lyricists. It was there that he honed his gift for crafting melodies that could connect instantly with people. Climbing the charts by the mid-1960s, Neil Diamond stepped into the spotlight with his own voice, releasing a string of hits that quickly became classics. Songs like Solitary Man, Cherry, Cherry, and Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon showcased his ability to fuse pop, rock, and folk with emotional storytelling. The late 60s and 70s solidified his superstardom. Diamond produced some of the most enduring songs of the era, including Sweet Caroline, an uplifting anthem that eventually became a cultural phenomenon, especially in sports stadiums. Cracklin' Rosie, song sung blue, I Said, You Don't Bring Me Flowers, a dramatic duet with Barbra Streisand. With each release, he carved out a sound that was unmistakably his own, warm, earnest, and full of emotional depth. Master of the stage, Neil Diamond was not just a recording artist, he was an electrifying performer. His concerts were known for their energy, intimacy, and dazzling showmanship. Dressed often in glittering, iconic sequined shirts, Diamond had a rare gift for making massive arenas feel like small, warm rooms shared between friends. His live album, Hot August Night, 1972, remains one of the most celebrated concert recordings ever made, capturing Diamond at his fiery, magnetic peak. A songbook that stands the test of time over his career, Neil Diamond has sold more than 130 million records, earned entry into the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and inspired countless artists across genres. His music continues to appear in films, TV series, and cultural moments around the world. In 2018, after being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, Diamond retired from touring, but not from music. He has continued writing and recording, proving that creativity is a lifelong journey. Legacy of a legend. Neil Diamond's impact goes far beyond charts and awards. His songs have become soundtracks to weddings, celebrations, heartbreaks, and everyday lives. They echo across stadiums, bars, family gatherings, and memories, reminding listeners of the enduring power of melody and sincerity. More than anything, Neil Diamond has given the world something rare. Music that feels like a friend, staying with us through every season of life. Neil Diamond. A deeper look at the life, music, and legacy of an American icon. For more than half a century, Neil Diamond has stood as one of America's most influential and beloved singer-songwriters. His voice, smooth, rich, and instantly recognizable, has become a cornerstone of modern pop culture. His lyrics, often confessional and poetic, turned everyday emotions into unforgettable songs. Neil Diamond is more than just a musician, he is a storyteller whose songs have become part of the emotional architecture of millions of lives. Early life. Roots of a songwriter. Neil Leslie Diamond was born into a close-knit Jewish family in Brooklyn on January 24, 1941. As a child, he was introverted but observant, often finding solace in poetry and music. He received his first guitar as a teenager, a moment he later described as a door opening to a new world. Diamond attended Erasmus Hall High School, where he sang in the chorus alongside future superstar Barbra Streisand. Even then, he had a natural sensitivity to lyrics and melody, traits that would shape his future career. A turning point came when he earned a fencing scholarship to New York University. Yet, despite excelling academically and athletically, he felt a stronger pull towards songwriting. That calling led him to leave college just months before graduation to pursue music full-time, a risky decision that would eventually change his life. The Brill Building years. Crafting the hits of a generation in the early 1960s, Diamond found himself at the Brill Building, the legendary home of America's top songwriters. Working in small rooms packed with pianos, typewriters, and ambition, he wrote songs for other artists before ever recording his own. Some early successes included I'm a Believer, recorded by the Monkees. It became one of the biggest hits of the decade. A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You, another Monkees hit that showcased his effortless melodic touch. These creations proved Diamond's ability to craft pop hooks that resonated instantly, an ability that would soon push him into the spotlight as a performer. Becoming a star by the mid-1960s, Neil Diamond began releasing music under his own name. Songs like Solitary Man revealed the introspective tone that would become his trademark. His breakthrough came with a string of hits that mixed vulnerability with irresistible melodies: Cherry, Kentucky Woman, Sweet Caroline, Cracklin' Rosie. Each one cemented his status as a major new voice in American pop music. But it was the emotional depth of songs like Holly Holy and I Am, I Said that truly set him apart. Diamond wrote with a sincerity that felt rare, even in an era defined by personal songwriting. The 1970s, a golden era. The 1970s became Neil Diamond's most iconic decade. He evolved as an artist, blending rock, pop, gospel, and orchestral arrangements to create a sound that felt both grand and deeply human. Hot August Night, a cultural landmark in 1972. Diamond performed a series of concerts at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles. The result was Hot August Night, a live album that many critics and fans consider his masterpiece. The album captured the raw power of his stage presence, fiery, emotional, and unfiltered. It became a bestseller internationally and remains one of the greatest live albums ever produced. A film venture, The Jazz Singer. In 1980, Diamond took a bold step into acting with the film The Jazz Singer. While the movie received mixed reviews, the soundtrack was a massive success. Featuring unforgettable hits such as Love on the Rocks, Hello Again, America, the album sold millions and further expanded Diamond's popularity worldwide. The Performer, Glitter, Emotion, and Connection. Neil Diamond concerts became legendary for their theatrical flair and emotional electricity. Wearing his signature sequined shirts, he engaged audiences with charm, humor, and deep intimacy. His performances were not simply shows, they were communal celebrations. Songs like Sweet Caroline turned arenas into choirs, with tens of thousands singing the chorus in unison. Even in later decades, long after many of his contemporaries slowed down, Diamond continued selling out arenas and delivering powerhouse performances. Later career and continued excellence. In the 1990s and 2000s, Diamond experienced a creative renaissance. Working with producer Rick Rubin, he released 12 Songs 2005 and Home Before Dark 2008. Stripped-down albums that emphasized raw emotion and lyrical honesty. These works introduced Diamond to a new generation of listeners and earned critical acclaim. His ability to adapt while staying true to his artistic identity is a key reason his music endures. Health challenges and retirement from touring. In 2018, Neil Diamond publicly announced his retirement from touring after being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. The news shocked and saddened fans across the globe. But Diamond made clear that his love of songwriting remained strong. He has continued to record, appear in special performances, and stay involved with music projects, showing the resilience and artistic passion that have defined his life. Awards, honors, and impact. Neil Diamond's achievements include Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, Songwriters Hall of Fame inductee, Kennedy Center Honor recipient, Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, over 130 million records sold worldwide. Beyond accolades, his impact is felt in everyday life. His songs have become anthems at weddings, ball games, parties, and major life moments. Sweet Caroline, in particular, has become one of the most recognizable and joy-filled sing-alongs in modern history. A legacy that will endure. Neil Diamond's story is one of dedication, artistry, and emotional truth. His songs brought comfort to the lonely, energy to celebrations, and meaning to countless personal moments. Few musicians have touched the world the way he has, with warmth, vulnerability, and unwavering sincerity. As time moves forward, his music continues to shine brightly, reminding us that true songwriting is timeless. Neil Diamond didn't just write hits, he wrote memories. Neil Diamond, the poet of pop, the voice of a generation. Neil Diamond's journey to becoming one of the world's most admired singer-songwriters is a story carved from determination, sensitivity, and an instinct for melody that feels almost mystical. His songs aren't just hits, they're emotional experiences that touch on longing, triumph, heartbreak, joy, and the quiet moments in between. For millions, a Neil Diamond song is not just something to listen to, it's something to feel. The making of a musiker. Inspirations and early influences. Growing up in a working-class family in Brooklyn, Diamond's early life was shaped by the neighborhood's cultural vibrancy. He was surrounded by the doo-wop harmonies of street corner singers, Jewish liturgical music, and the raw energy of early rock and roll. 3 key influences shaped Diamond. 1. Poetry. Before he was a musician, he was a poet. The lyrical depth in songs like I Am, I Said reflects this early love of language. 2. Folk storytelling. Acts like Pete Seeger and the folk revival taught him the power of simple melodies paired with honest lyrics. 3. Classic pop and rock. Elvis, the Everly Brothers, and Roy Orbison influenced his dramatic flair, vocal delivery, and songwriting style. These elements fused into a unique musical identity, simple but sweeping, emotional but grounded. Intimate yet universal. Songwriting philosophy. Emotion first, complexity second. Neil Diamond often said that he wrote songs to understand his own feelings. For him, music was therapy long before it became a career. His core songwriting principles, write honestly. Even his biggest anthems contain a heartbeat of vulnerability. Start with emotion. Diamond usually began with a feeling, then translated it into melody. Trust simplicity. Many of his hits use straightforward structures, allowing emotional sincerity to shine. Blend genres freely. Pop, gospel, soul, folk, country. He wove them together effortlessly. He believed songs should feel lived in. That's why a track like Song Sung Blue can sound comforting on the surface yet hold deep melancholy underneath. A catalog that defines eras. Neil Diamond's discography is vast. Over 30 studio albums, and yet certain periods stand out for their monumental influence. The late 60s, the breakthrough songs like Solitary Man, Cherry, Cherry, Thank the Lord for the Nighttime, announced Diamond as a new kind of songwriter, personal but catchy, emotional but accessible. The 1970s. The golden decade this era gave us Sweet Caroline, Cracklin' Rosie, Holly Holy, I Am, I Said, Play Me. These songs reveal a master songwriter at his peak, balancing orchestral beauty with pop enthusiasm. The 1980s, a superstar solidified the soundtrack of The Jazz Singer, made him a global sensation. Tracks like Love on the Rocks and America captured themes of love, nostalgia, and immigrant pride. Later career, reinvention with the help of producer Rick Rubin. Diamond returned to a stripped-down sound. Albums like 12 Songs and Home Before Dark were introspective, raw, and critically revered. Live performance. Where Neil Diamond became legendary. Diamond's concerts were rites of passage for millions. His connection with audiences was electric and sincere. Why his live shows were legendary. His voice filled arenas with warmth. His stage presence was both commanding and intimate. His sequined shirts gave performances a sense of spectacle and celebration. His storytelling between songs created emotional arcs. And then there was Sweet Caroline. Few live music moments in history equal the euphoria of thousands singing, "So good, so good, so good," at the top of their lungs. Neil Diamond, the actor. Beyond the music, though primarily known for his music, Diamond explored acting with The Jazz Singer, 1980. The film had emotional resonance, exploring themes of identity and artistic calling, subjects close to Diamond's heart. While critics were mixed, his performance was earnest, and the soundtrack's success overshadowed all else. Behind the scenes, personal life and character. Neil Diamond's personal life has been marked by 3 marriages, 4 children, lifelong dedication to philanthropy. Despite global fame, he has always maintained a grounded, humble persona. He often spoke about the emotional toll of performing deeply personal songs, yet he viewed sharing vulnerability as part of his responsibility to fans. Health, resilience, and retirement from touring. In 2018, Diamond announced that he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. It forced him to retire from touring, but not from music. His determination to write, create, and appear in limited performances demonstrates his unwavering spirit. His courage sparked global admiration, proof that he remains, above all, a fighter. His cultural impact, larger than charts and awards. Neil Diamond's influence extends far beyond his record sales. He became woven into the culture of sports. Sweet Caroline has become a national anthem of celebration. Movies and television. His music appears in classics from Pulp Fiction to Shrek. Generational traditions. Parents pass his music to children. Couples play his songs at weddings and anniversaries. American Identity. America remains a profoundly emotional tribute to immigrant heritage. His music symbolizes optimism, longing, love, and the universal search for meaning. Why Neil Diamond endures. Generations change. Music trends evolve, but the emotional resonance of Neil Diamond's songs remains constant. His longevity is built on melodies that are instantly memorable, lyrics that feel like journal entries, a voice that conveys sincerity in every note, a willingness to evolve artistically, a personal connection to fans that never faded. Neil Diamond doesn't just write songs. He writes human experiences. Final thoughts. A legacy written in melody. Neil Diamond's story is one of perseverance, passion, and profound artistry. From a Brooklyn kid with a guitar to a global icon, his journey reflects the power of music to move hearts and endure across generations. His voice may not fill arenas anymore, but his songs continue to fill the world with joy, nostalgia, hope, and the unmistakable warmth of a true musical poet. Neil Diamond's career is living proof of one beautiful truth: a good song may last a year, but a Neil Diamond song lasts a lifetime. Neil Diamond. The art, emotion, and enduring magic of a musical legend. Neil Diamond's story is not merely a series of chart-topping hits, it is a portrait of an artist who turned vulnerability into power, introspection into connection, and personal struggle into universal melody. His voice, his songwriting, and his very presence have shaped not only the sound of American music, but the emotional landscape of countless lives. Below is a deeper, more analytical look into what truly makes Neil Diamond a once-in-a-generation figure. The voice. A baritone that feels like warm sunlight. One of Neil Diamond's most defining features is his voice, a deep, warm, resonant baritone that carries emotional weight. But beyond tone, his voice contains something rare: emotional truth. What makes his voice special? Texture, slightly gritty yet velvety smooth. Warmth, a comforting, almost paternal resonance. Dramatic phrasing. He shapes words with a theatrical sensitivity. Dynamic vulnerability. He can sound powerful in one line and fragile in the next. Few singers move so effortlessly between intensity and gentleness. When Diamond sings, you feel like he is speaking directly to your soul. The psychology behind his songwriting. Much of Neil Diamond's writing draws from introspection and emotional conflict. Key emotional themes in his songs: loneliness, solitary man, inner questioning. I said, longing for connection. Play me, life's bittersweetness. Song sung blue, redemption and triumph. America. Diamond once said he often wrote to figure out what I was feeling. The result is music that feels lived, not manufactured. His lyrics are full of confession, self-reflection, hope, heartache, personal transformation. This authenticity is why his songs resonate deeply across generations. The craft. How Neil Diamond builds a song. Diamond approaches songwriting like a craftsman and poet. 1. Melodic simplicity. His melodies are easy to remember, yet layered with emotional nuance. 2. Rhythmic hooks. Many of his songs, Sweet Caroline, Cherry, use rhythmic phrasing that feels instantly infectious. 3. Emotional storytelling. Diamond rarely tells literal stories, instead, he focuses on emotional arcs. 4. Rise and fall structures. Many of his songs build slowly, peak dramatically, and then descend gently, mirroring emotional journeys. 5. Genre fusion. He blends elements of rock, pop, folk, gospel, soul, orchestral pop. This versatility is one of the reasons his music appeals to so many different people. Neil Diamond's most iconic songs. A deeper look below is a deeper emotional and musical exploration of some of his signature works. Sweet Caroline, a feel-good anthem rooted in human connection. The magic isn't just the melody, it's the pause before the so good, chant. Diamond instinctively understood how to build communal joy. I said, one of the most emotionally raw pop songs ever written. He wrote it during an existential crisis while in therapy. The line, "and no one heard at all, not even the chair," shows his signature blend of poetic honesty and metaphor. Love on the Rocks, a masterclass in vocal delivery. The weary tone. The descending melodic lines, it's heartbreak distilled into sound. America, a booming, anthemic celebration of immigrant spirit. It remains one of the most patriotic modern songs, not written as a political piece, but as a human one. Hello again, tender, longing, soft, but full of emotional thunder. Diamond's vocal performance is one of his most vulnerable. A performer like no other. No written biography can fully capture what Neil Diamond brought to the stage. He didn't just sing songs, he inhabited them. His concerts mixed Fiery energy, emotional storytelling, theatrical flair, personal warmth, humor, connection. The sequined shirts in the 70s and 80s. His shimmering outfits became iconic. They weren't just flashy, they symbolized celebration, joy, and spectacle. The audience connection. Diamond had a rare, magnetic ability to make every member of an arena feel seen and appreciated. When he sang "I Need You" at the finish line, crowds believed him. Influence across music and culture. Neil Diamond's influence extends far beyond his own discography. Artists he influenced: Billy Joel, Bruce Springsteen, Barbra Streisand, Michael Bublé, Chris Stapleton, Robbie Williams. Film and pop culture. His music appears in Pulp Fiction, Shrek, Beautiful Noise, Broadway musical, countless TV episodes and commercials. Sports culture: Sweet Caroline has become a stadium anthem worldwide. Fenway Park made it immortal. Behind the spotlight, the man himself. Neil Diamond has always been introspective, even shy, despite his fame. Traits that define him: deeply private, humble, quietly spiritual, loyal to fans, perfectionist in the studio, honest about struggles he has experienced. Moments of depression, creative crises, pressure from superstardom, health issues in later life, yet he has always returned to one thing: songwriting. It is his life's anchor. Parkinson's diagnosis and continuing courage. When Neil Diamond announced in 2018 that he was retiring from touring due to Parkinson's disease, the world rallied behind him. Instead of withdrawing, he remained remarkably positive. He continues to write, perform selectively, and engage with fans. His courage is part of his legacy. His legacy. Why Neil Diamond's music will outlast generations. Neil Diamond's work endures because it is emotionally honest, it is melodically unforgettable, it feels deeply human, it bridges cultures, ages, and eras. His songs accompany weddings, heartbreaks, long drives, stadium celebrations, family gatherings, quiet nights with headphones, moments of nostalgia. Few artists are woven this deeply into the soundtrack of everyday life. In essence, Neil Diamond didn't just write songs. He wrote emotional landmarks, places in music where people return again and again. Neil Diamond, A Life in Music, further expanded the evolution of an artist. From Brooklyn dreamer to global icon, Neil Diamond's career is remarkable not just for its longevity, but for its constant evolution. Unlike many artists who find success in one sound and remain there, Diamond moved through distinct artistic eras, each marked by changes in style, ambition, and emotional depth. Early era, 1962 to 1966, the Brill Building apprentice. During his early years, Diamond was a songwriter for hire, working in a tiny room with a piano, a desk, and endless deadlines. What this era taught him: efficiency. He learned to write dozens of songs quickly. Craftsmanship. Hooks mattered, melodies mattered, structure mattered. Adaptability. Diamond could write for pop, R&B, girl groups, or teen idols. But inside him was a deeper artistic hunger, a desire to express his own emotions, not just supply hits to others. This tension became the catalyst for his breakthrough. Breakthrough era, 1966 to 1971. The birth of the Neil Diamond sound. This was the era of Solitary Man, Cherry, and Kentucky Woman. Diamond found his voice, emotionally direct, poetic, and musically upbeat, characteristics of this era. Driving rhythms, raw, youthful energy, introspective lyrics, a mix of folk, rock, and Brill Building pop. Even early on, Diamond wrote like someone older and wiser than his age, touching on themes of loneliness, identity, and yearning. Classic era, 1971 to 1980. Grand emotions, big arrangements, timeless hits. This era catapulted him into superstardom. Musical hallmarks. Sweeping string arrangements, gospel influences, orchestral builds, dramatic vocal performances. Songs from this era include Sweet Caroline, Holly Holy, Play Me, I Am, I Said, Longfellow Serenade. These tracks showcased Diamond's ability to blend intimacy with grandeur. Hot August Night, 1972. This live album, often considered one of the greatest ever recorded, cemented Diamond's status as a master performer. His energy, charisma, and emotional delivery were unmatched. The jazz singer era, 1980 to 1982, reinvention on a global stage. Diamond's starring role in The Jazz Singer was a bold leap. While some critics didn't appreciate the film, audiences loved it, and the soundtrack was a monster hit. Themes: ambition, faith, artistic conflict, heritage, belonging. The album includes Love on the Rocks, Hello Again, America. These songs contain some of Diamond's most powerful vocal performances. The Mature Era, 1983 to 1998, reflection, growth, and emotional depth. During this period, Diamond's songwriting became more introspective and refined. His voice deepened. His lyrics grew more philosophical. Notable songs include Heartlight, September Morn, Yesterday's Songs. This era saw a balance between thoughtful ballads and uplifting anthems. The Reinvention Era, 2005 to 2014. Critical renaissance. Partnering with producer Rick Rubin gave Diamond a creative rebirth. These albums stripped away big orchestras, heavy production, stadium-sized arrangements. What remained was the essence: voice, guitar, raw emotion. 12 songs, and Home Before Dark, were praised for their honesty and simplicity. Theme analysis: the emotions that define Neil Diamond. 1. Loneliness. Loneliness is a recurring theme in his songs, not as despair, but as reflection.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.